This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on a Tuesday? It's the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com. Hope you and yours are doing well, having a great day. We are having a great day live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios right here off of McFarland Boulevard. You can call Derek Daniel for all of your insurance needs, 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there hosting the program. He'll take care of you. If you want to give him a call, yesterday was his birthday. You can call him again, 205-758-3391. Wish him a happy birthday and get you a really quick auto insurance quote. See how much money he can save you today. We're presented by Purple Turtle Roofing as well. Man, another rainy morning in Tuscaloosa, another rainy morning in West Alabama. Hope you and yours are staying dry. But if you've got any concerns, reach out to Purple Turtle Roofing for your residential roofs, for your commercial roofs, for your metal roofs, for your shingle roofs. They can take care of you. They'll come out, give you a free roof inspection. So check them out online at roofturtle.com or visit or call them at 877-787-6635 today. We appreciate Purple Turtle Roofing for sponsoring the program. We're hanging out with our friend Theo Fernandez. You follow him at Theo Fernandez __ on the Twitter machine, covering all things Alabama athletics for us at BamaCentral.com and working at Fox Sports over the summer, getting ready for some baseball, some MLB, some IndyCar 500, some World Cup, all kinds of sports coverage at Fox Sports. We're going to have a lot of fun today talking Alabama baseball. The regional was announced yesterday. Who Alabama's opponents are. We know who's coming to Tuscaloosa, and we know who Alabama is paired up with in the super regional round if they can get out of the regional. So we'll talk about that, the possibility of getting out of the regional. Is it dangerous? Is it easy? Who is Oklahoma State? What about Alabama? You got UC Upstate. So softball and baseball both coming to Tuscaloosa to maybe see their seasons end with USC Upstate. So we got a lot to talk about with baseball. I've got a voicemail from Hunter Brantley. You guys can call the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800 if you want to be a part of the program. And, of course, you can leave us comments at Theo Fernandez _, at Joe Gaither 6, at Bama Central, on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook page, whatever you like. And then we're going to transition from baseball into football, and we're going to step outside of just Alabama. We're going to look at the SEC quarterbacks in 2026. We're going to rank the SEC quarterbacks. We're going to see if Theo Fernandez is as smart as he looks. Do you have Arch Manning number one? That's the question. Good morning. Do you have Arch Manning number one? If you don't, then we're going to have a serious debate on our hands. Hope you're doing well, and I'm looking forward to talking baseball with you, sir.
Yes, Arch Manning is number one. And not to spoil anything on the list, it is an incredibly underwhelming list of SEC quarterbacks. That was all that kept running through my mind while I was ranking these guys last night, Joe. This is, like, if you were to give me a list of the SEC quarterbacks preseason and compare them to every other year, like, this is probably the least exciting group of guys. I don't know. It's not striking any real fear into me at all. We'll rank those guys, though. We'll talk about them, and I'm sure we'll see who rises, who falls. That'll be fun. The story was baseball, though, which obviously right after we recorded yesterday, got to see Alabama come in at number 7. We both had Alabama at 8, so we weren't off on the predictions. I thought the committee, all in all, did a very solid job on their rankings. I thought there wasn't much to. The only real criticisms I saw were the Big 12's 2 regional teams landing at 15 and 16. And then also the last introduction thing. Did you see the controversy with NC State, Joe?
No, I have not.
NC State baseball, really big-time legendary coach retiring at the end of the year. They do not have an NCAA tournament resume in the slightest, in my opinion. They got in. Not only did they get in, they avoided the last 4 in. And Mercer, a very, very good mid-major team that a lot of people thought deserved a shot, did not. So, if your team's ever on the bubble, just say your coach is retiring, and you will get a tournament berth.
Well, that's why Alabama got into the 2023 playoff. because Nick Saban was retiring. The powers that be knew Nick Saban was going to retire, so we got the pity. We got into the playoff. Alabama got into the playoff. You hear that conspiracy theory all the time. But yeah, NC State is going to the Auburn Regional, where they will see their season end. 32-22 for the Wolfpack. They'll be going to the Auburn Regional with UCF and Milwaukee. Milwaukee getting in at 25-31, winning their conference tournament to get into the event. So Auburn getting a layup really to open their NCAA regional on Friday. Let's go to the voicemail line because I think Hunter Brantley leads us off with baseball topics he wants us to address. So instead of double addressing things, we'll go right to his voicemail and then we'll get into this regional. UC Upstate. You brought in Alabama State and Oklahoma State are all coming to Tuscaloosa. Alabama is taking on Alabama State at 6 p.m. on Friday right here at Sewell Thomas Stadium. I'll have your live updates on BamaCentral. I have your tweets up right there, so you can follow me for all the coverage on Friday. Alabama against Alabama State. Let's start on the voicemail line, 205-462-7340, extension 800. Here is Hunter Brantley.
Man, it's really starting to feel like 2012 again. And no, Theo, I'm not talking about the Thunder losing the finals, which will happen, if not the conference finals. We're talking about Bama softball here. This is the most complete team Murphy has had since maybe 2021 when he had Montana, who was the best pitcher in the world, and she basically carried us to the World Series. And after the perfect game, I thought it was a foregone conclusion that they would win the national championship, and they go 0-2 against Florida State, and they lose in the semis. However, this isn't 2021. This is more like 2012, like I mentioned earlier. Two aces in the circle, and Brisky and Vic Moden. You got firepower up and down that lineup, 1 through 9. I mean, there's not a girl in that lineup where if I'm a pitcher, I'm like, man, she's an easy out. I know how to get her out. Everybody in that lineup is going to be difficult to get out and move on to the next and the next. You got Anna Roman, you got Alexis Papillo, you got Jenna Young at the top, Ambry Taylor, Marley Giles. You got some of the best defense that you've had in a while, and Kristen White in center field. I mean, like I said, is this the best chance that we've had to win a national championship since 2012? Maybe Jackie Trainer's last year in 2014, I think that was. I believe we lost to Florida that year in the World Series in the championship game. I mean, I think it's laid out for us. Like Murphy said, let's go on a magic carpet ride and see what happens. We'll be bringing home a national championship at the Rhodes House. That's what I think. It's just my thoughts. I'd like to know yours. Bama baseball, Tuscaloosa Regional has a nice ring to it. I really think that we got a good draw. Oklahoma State's really the only team that scares me. 13 straight regionals in a row for Josh Holliday. That's pretty impressive. I don't care who you are. That's second to Florida and O'Sullivan. But I think that's where the road ends. I like Alabama coming out of this regional. I think they're in the right headspace. I think they'll be playing with just supreme confidence back at home. I think the fans will be rocking. I think the Joe will be packed. The Rangers will be rowdy. And I think Brian, Hines, Lim, so on and so forth, Bryce Fowler, I think they'll be ready to play. I think they'll hit great. I think we'll pitch great. I think we'll execute the way that we're capable of, like a top 8 seed. And I think we'll go on to the Super Regionals against whoever comes out of the Tallahassee Regional, whether that be Florida State or Coastal, and take our chances. Best of 3 series at home. Like LeBron said, we play great at home. We will have a 3-game series at home for a ride to go to the World Series. And, may the chips fall where they may. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Let's get after it. Talk to y'all later.
Hey, Hunter Brantley joining us on the voicemail line. Theo first with softball, the first half of his call. We addressed it yesterday, but for everybody who didn't hear it yesterday, I am right there with you, Hunter. I'm having a really difficult time not landing on national championship or bust. Sorry. I mean, I really don't like to place expectations on teams and on programs, on people. I don't, because, it's sports. Anything can happen and any day and anything can happen. I wouldn't consider the ladies' season a failure if they didn't win it, but man, it is set up. Oh, it is set up to win a national championship. And so, yeah, I think Patrick Murphy, you're taking great pitcher Jocelyn Brisky, a great number 2 Vic Moten. I think Caitlin Palazzi can come in and just give you a mix-up as a number 3. You probably won't see her in Oklahoma City, but the offensive lineup is extremely enhanced from what it has been, at least in the last few years in Tuscaloosa. So, yeah, Hunter, I am right there with you as far as the ladies at national championship expectations. That starts on Thursday. We are going to try to get Katie Wyndham on Thursday. Katie is traveling to Oklahoma City. She's landing Wednesday late evening. She said maybe, could be, possibly Thursday morning. I said, you just let us know. Whatever your schedule is, you just let us know. So if you're looking for Katie to expound on softball, that will be coming. Well, that might be coming on Thursday. I don't want to speak for her. She might just have a crazy schedule, and travel and covering when you're out away is a little difficult. So we'll see if she can get on. But, Theo, I'm in dead agreement with Hunter on the softball. Those ladies, the field is right wide open in front of them to take.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Joe. I also think that the softball, the fandom, and having everyone at the Rhodes House the past couple weeks and getting ready for postseason Diamond Sports. I mean, look, you're lined up for 4 straight weeks of home regional play, baseball, softball combined.
You think some of the softball fans will migrate across campus over to Sewell Thomas Stadium?
Yeah, I think they have to. All right, I think there's no reason not to. Everything that I've heard from everybody who went to the 2023 regional, which I take it you were there as well, Joe. Everything I've heard is, yeah, that sounded incredible.
It was a great time, and so I'm looking forward to that again this weekend. Friday night baseball with high stakes here in Tuscaloosa. I would encourage you, if you don't have anything going on this weekend, this Friday, get yourself a little bit of an early dinner and get over to Sewell Thomas Stadium, or come to Sewell Thomas Stadium and have a hot dog and 3 beers, and rah the Crimson Tide onto a super regional. That's where we'll move right into, Theo, as Hunter kind of sets it up. Oklahoma State is kind of the marquee team that gets sent to Tuscaloosa. You get Alabama State and USC Upstate, 2 lower tier teams. Are you concerned? I mean, what's the level of? You got to get out of the region. You got to win the region. You got to win Rob Vaughn's first NCAA tournament game as an Alabama coach, as Alabama's head coach. He's 5-10, I believe he is, in NCAA regional tournament. What I wrote last week. So he's 5-10. So he's looking to get going here in Tuscaloosa. Here is a chance to get 3 wins, move that record to 8-10 real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be all that difficult. This is just plain and simple, one of the easiest regionals in the country when you take just looking at it from an objective ratings perspective and the net and RPI and all the rankings that people use for these teams. They all have it as one of the 4 easiest regionals in the country. Like, there's no excuse to not get out of it. And part of that is there's no excuse to lose a home regional, for one. But this regional in particular certainly looks like one of the easier pairings in the country. When I look at these teams, first of all, Alabama State, we saw Alabama play twice in midweeks. I'm very excited. Rob Vaughn is having an availability, right, this week, Joe?
Yes, today at 1:40. You got anything you want me to throw at him?
Fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I'm just fascinated. You got to know about the pitching strategy, and if you don't, I think you don't throw.
Do you reverse it? Reverse it? You didn't see Miles last week, so do you reverse it? Miles, you got a long week off, long weekend. You're starting Friday. Do you reverse it? You go Miles Upchurch, Zane Adams, and then Tyler Fay Sunday. Because
I think
baseball dummy over here says I might reverse it.
A lot of people suggest throwing a midweek arm for the first game. It's a risk that if you can pull off, I don't agree with, because we've thrown midweek arms against Alabama State, and the result was, obviously the arms weren't the fault of it, but the result was one of the ugliest 2-1 baseball games I think I've ever seen. I didn't even actually watch the whole one because it was the day of the Bama-Arkansas game, and think I made the right choice going to watch that on the court. But that was just bats weren't going. You never know what's going to happen in baseball, right? The most random sport ever. I like the idea of Miles Upchurch. It's your postseason debut. Why don't you go out and take care of business against Alabama State and give us some confidence heading into Tyler Fay against Oklahoma State day 2.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this upstate team, they are not that good, frankly. I think they finished 5th in the Big South.
Alabama State 177 in RPI. Upstate was 83. Go ahead.
Yes, I mean this upstate team just isn't great. You got 5 players with 50 RBI on the team. Like, there's just not that much that strikes. They don't have great power. They don't have special pitching. They were just kind of an above-average Big South team that went on a run in the conference tournament. Frankly, this is one of the easier 3s, especially when you look at a team like Jacksonville State. That is a 3, and that is a scary baseball team. That's a team that gave Alabama trouble. It's a team that gave a lot of SEC schools trouble. Upstate shouldn't be that, which also bodes well for the 2 seed Oklahoma State. First of all, really historic program. I actually wasn't aware of this until yesterday, but Alabama rather defeated Oklahoma State twice in the College World Series, including in 1999, its last appearance. So there's some history there. I mean, Oklahoma State, just an incredibly historic program. I want to say they're at 12 straight regional appearances, if I'm not mistaken.
13. This makes 13.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the longest in the country now with the LSU and Vanderbilt streaks ending. I think that's number 2 behind just Florida as far as longest streaks nationally. This team hits the cover off the ball, man. They're second in the nation with 137 home runs. Colin Ritchie, kind of the superstar of the team, hit 29 this year, more than double what Justin LeBron hit for Alabama. Ritchie is a slut. I mean, he's liable to take that thing out of the park anytime he steps up to bat. They're hitters up and down the lineup. There's so much power. The pitching staff is just such a question mark for this Sooners team. They've been inconsistent. They've been injured. Even when they have been together, they've given up a lot of runs to not great teams. But frankly, when you have a team that can hit the baseball like the Cowboys can, anything is possible, right? And this is a team that you throw Fay out there, and when one of the things that I guarantee you're going to hear Rob Vaughn talk about, Joe, later today. Oh, when Tyler's misses are high, that's when he gets into some trouble. That's when guys can take him out of the park. He talks about missing high versus missing low. And Fay has done. The biggest difference is his ability to have his misses be low this year for the team and not damaging. Oklahoma State is the type of team that could hang 7-8 runs on him, and all of a sudden that flips everything for the Crimson Tide. At the end of the day, these hitters who have been inconsistent for Alabama very, very much have. I mean, Oklahoma State has weaker arms than just about every SEC team Alabama's faced this year, with the exception of South Carolina. There's absolutely the ability to put these games out of reach early by just getting on base, and hitting's consistent. Brady Neal has a monster series, and then great opportunity for a guy like Jason Torres to clear the bases a bunch and just set Alabama up for success. So, look, I can talk about Oklahoma State's power, but at the end of the day, this is a no excuse to not be out of the regional type situation.
I completely agree with you. I think that even if it's not 3-0, whatever it is, you got to get out of the regional and eliminate these 3 squads: USC, Upstate, Alabama State, and Oklahoma State. I'll ask you here: do you have any concern about Oklahoma State? They are, what did I just count? 13-4 in their last 17 games. 13-4, so they're pretty dadgum hot. Now they did lose to Kansas in the Big 12 the Big 12 tournament to be eliminated, and Kansas went on to win win the tournament, regular season and tournament title for Kansas. Do you have any concern with a team that is 13-4 entering the regional?
Oh, yes, without a doubt. I mean, you have to. Baseball is a season and a sport of runs, and this Oklahoma State team is on fire. And Kansas is a very, very good baseball team. Kansas has been one of the better stories from college baseball this year. You saw it with Florida, right? Alabama playing Florida. When Florida wasn't hot, right? Early in the season, Florida's kind of whatever. We're just going through the season. And Alabama goes in and sweeps them. You play Florida when the Gators are hot, I want to say it was 7 straight runs in 10 out of their last 11 games. And they were just a team that the bats were in sync, just like Oklahoma State is. And what happens? Florida hangs 13 on you, run rule loss. You absolutely have to, and you should ask Rob Vaughn about playing a hot Oklahoma State team, especially when any momentum that Alabama had, winning 8 out of 9, is pretty much cooled at this point, right? It's been 2 weeks since you've won a baseball game. Or it will have been on Friday. Coming up on 2 weeks since a win. You've had so much time to settle down. And that's been a problem for this Alabama team at times. Like the mental aspect. We talked about it heading into the SEC tournament. Like, where's this team at mentally? Does Rob Vaughn have them completely ready to play? The answer to that, you hope, is always a yes for the team's sake, but you never know. Baseball is such a mental game, and when you have a team that struggled so much with the mental side of things, that's going against a team in the Cowboys that is
they're locked
evidently nailing the mental side, that creates some inherent problems. So I'm very excited to hear what Rob Vaughn says.
So that's what we're going to do today. At 1:45, I will be over in the Sewell Thomas media room with Rob Vaughn. I believe Justin LeBron and Bryce Fowler are being a part of that. I think is what I was sent out. So we'll talk to those guys today. That's going to be on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. If you got questions that you think I need to be asking, obviously I'm going to have some questions loaded in my pocket. But if you've got questions that you want asked, you can find me at Joe Gaither 6 and drop a DM, drop a comment, whatever you like on this show. We'd love to hear your feedback as baseball season is coming to a head. Theo, that's all I really have on baseball at the moment. We're going to get more with Rob Vaughn later on today. You have anything before we transition into ranking these quarterbacks? Because if not, I'm going to read the Purple Turtle ad, and we're going to get quarterbacks, and we're going to make this show nice and efficient.
I like it. Efficient, ethical. I'll do some more Oklahoma State research later on in the week before Friday's game. We'll do the Rob Vaughn. We'll talk more baseball during the week. Let's rank some QBs.
Absolutely. Let's rank some QBs. But before we do, we want to remind you the program is brought to you by our friends at Purple Turtle Roofing. We're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claim support, and more. You can call them at 877-PT-ROOF-5 or visit them online today at roofturtle.com. Metal roofs, shingle roofs, it really doesn't matter. They'll come out and make sure that your roof is good to go and protecting all of your assets in your home or business. We appreciate Purple Turtle Roofing, and we encourage you to give them a call or check them out online at roofturtle.com. Roofing with heart, built to last. Purple Turtle Roofing. All right, we're hanging out with our friends Theo Fernandez. Let's see. Thoughts on. Oh yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, here we go. Before we turn to football, Jeremy Scott has a question on the Facebook. He says thoughts on, and I'll just throw this to you, Theo. Do you think the ABS? Thoughts on the ABS? Do you think it will be implemented permanently in college baseball? Oh, I see you right there. I see you.
Yeah, this is a longer topic debate, but we can get into it. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it because MLB's ABS system is basically set up with 12 cameras around the park, and it's a very complex system to set up the ABS and the tracking and making sure that you can do it the right way, right? It's a very easy thing to set up at the SEC tournament in Hoover. Really, at all these power conference tournaments, it's something that you could have. It's also something that if the SEC wanted to do, you could absolutely get these schools to say, yes, we're doing ABS. I thought it was, I don't know, I was kind of holding my breath a little bit when it got introduced for the SEC. I was definitely holding my breath when the MLB introduced it, and that's been just an overwhelming success. And part of me thought, oh, it'll be a little bit different in Hoover. Like this, I don't know if it'll translate. No, it is a great system. It is the best addition the MLB has made in years. It's something that I think belongs in baseball. And obviously, as we know, the lower the level of baseball gets, the lower the quality of ball and strike calls get, right? The best umps are at the top. Yes. So when we look at something that's a part of the game now, right? Something that's a part of the MLB. The SEC wants to be, one, at the forefront of innovation, and two, the SEC develops so many MLB players, so it only makes sense to give your guys the opportunity to go out and learn how to use this thing that is such a big piece of it, right? You see the reactions to players like Jazz Chisholm that just have no clue how to use ABS, and Diaz had to pay his teammates fines because he keeps burning all the Yankees challenges. Like, it's something that guys need to know how to use, right? You need to know the strategy of, well, this might have been a bad call, but it's only the third inning, versus, you have to make sure that you have something available in the ninth for if something comes. I think it's a great system. I think it's something that adds so many wrinkles to the game. I also think it's funny with the SEC meetings coming up, right? And we should talk SEC meetings at some point this week. But basically the one big headline that I saw from yesterday was Sankey talking about how he thinks we still need national oversight, right? He thinks going to all conference rules doesn't make the most sense. Well, that's something that's kind of applicable to ABS here. That's something that, what does that say about the SEC's willingness to implement ABS if other conferences aren't going to? And that's kind of what it boils down to, because I said this last time we talked about ABS. Go tell the Patriot League that they need to install all of these cameras at every individual school, and you need to have ABS set up. Go tell the Big South Conference they need to do the same. The South, like all these conferences. How many are willing to do that? And I guess it's something that you can argue is hypothetically a one-time cost, right? In theory, you probably get these cameras, and I don't know how long they last, probably at least a decade. It's not something you're paying a ton for every year. But in this era of college sports, you think you're going to have a lot of success telling these schools to, oh, yeah, we know baseball is one of your three costliest sports just about at every program in the country, but you need to spend some more money now. That's not going to go over very well. So I think it's something that makes a lot of sense for the SEC. I think you'd absolutely get the Big 10 and Big 12 and ACC on board too.
Yep.
And at best, it becomes something that maybe is implemented for conference games. But at the end of the day, if these smaller conferences aren't willing to use them for the whole regular season, which I do not think they will be, it is not something that you can make an official national rule, and it's not something that you can have in postseason play for the regionals. So I don't really think ABS, like maybe you could do it in Omaha in theory, but I don't think it's something that will become a big part of the game, at least for the next couple of years.
I think you laid it all out there very well, Theo. I agree with basically everything you said. It's for the haves and maybe not for the have-nots, and that will create more splits in college athletics. All right, I appreciate your comment, Jeremy Scott. Appreciate you watching each and every, the last handful of days. So we appreciate you being a part of the BamaCentral YouTube channel as well. Your contribution is greatly appreciated, and we hope you keep watching, sir. Let's turn our attention, Theo, to SEC quarterbacks. And we should have figured this out before the show. Do you want to go 1 to 10, or do you want to go 10? We should go 10-1, right? We should go 10-1. I mean,
yeah,
I'm with you. You laid it out there right at the beginning. You've got I don't know, a star power problem at quarterback in the SEC. I see three absolute bona fide superstars on my list, and the rest of this is, well, maybe four could be. I know five is a fan favorite with his team, in my opinion. Six is such a wild card for me. Like the fall off from 2 all the way down. The gap between 2 and 3, I think, is ginormous. 3 could be a monster. It's going to be an interesting year of quarterback play, and I had a hard time placing the Alabama quarterback. My Alabama quarterback list has Austin Mack / Keelan Russell, so I've got them both sitting in the same slot because you don't really know who's going to be emerging as the starter. All right, so I ranked 12 to 1. So I'll just give you 12 and 11 real quick before I get to 10. I put Jared Curtis 12 from Vanderbilt because I do think he's going to be a good player. But you just can't put a freshman much higher than top 12. I mean, so that's basically where I'm going to leave him. And I think the Vanderbilt system is going to work out very well for him. He's going to love Cole Adams. And he's going to be a good freshman. I got Austin Simmons at 11, transferred from Ole Miss to Missouri. I think that Eli Drinkwitz runs a quarterback-friendly offense, and Austin Simmons got maybe the bad end of a deal last year. He got hurt and lost his job, got Wally pipped. I don't think he's a bad player, but I also don't think he is a superstar quite yet. I want to see it out of him, so I put him at 11. At 10, though, I put Georgia Tech transfer Aaron Philo from Georgia Tech into Florida because I think that their new system is going to be really, really a breath of fresh air for the Florida Gators offense. And so I think that Aaron Philo, he transferred in from Georgia Tech. He played basically under Buster Faulkner, so that's kind of his in there. Maybe it's going to be Tramble Jones Jr. as their quarterback, but for the sake of this discussion, I put Aaron Philo at number 10. Why don't you start with 10, and if you have anybody past 10 you want to talk about real quick, go right ahead.
Yeah, so I thought about Philo. I just don't know enough about him, and that was something I was thinking, like, he's too much of a question for me, where I don't know what that system will look like. I don't know what that team and season down in Gainesville will look like. So
they're going to have a sexy offense, man. Oh, their offense is going to give me tingles.
I think they're
just because
I
love Buster Faulkner.
I think they're excited not to have DJ Lagway running the show anymore.
Well, DJ could have been good in the Buster Faulkner system. I just think Buster Faulkner is a genius with the way that he combines power run scheme with the passing game. I think it's really, 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 really strong. I think they're going to be dangerous pretty quickly.
I ended up leaving Jared Curtis off just because too much of a question mark, so much of a different look, and I think I can come up with 10 guys I'd put above him right now.
Sure.
And then the one that gave me a little bit to think about was Kamario Taylor, Mississippi State, where I ended up leaving him off, but just there's some potential, I think, with that Bulldogs team, right? Really showed signs of life last year. I think you could be due for a complete regression, crater back down, and Levy's out of town in a year. I don't know. For the first time since the Mike Leach era, I feel a little bit of maybe hope, excitement from Mississippi State's perspective, right? You see the potential for, things could actually go okay this year, right? I don't know. I think I root for a school like Mississippi State, especially in this era. And I always loved watching Mike Leach coach them, so that would be cool. But actually getting into the top 10, I started with Keelan Russell at 10. I think it's hard to put him any higher right now. And look, yes, I do believe Keelan Russell will be the starter. I'm not saying this is a disrespect or statement on Alabama football, but right now with what I've seen, it's hard to go any higher with a guy who hasn't seen the field. And I do anticipate some struggles early for Keelan Russell leading this Alabama offense. I do think there'll be some questions like, will this true freshman really be able to handle it? There'll be opportunities for him to get knocked flat on his face a couple times early. But I do think he will be the guy, and I think he'll settle into it pretty nicely. And I think his end-of-season number will be very different from his opening season number.
There we go. I love it. Keelan Russell for Theo at number 10. Number 10 for me, I did go Kamario Taylor, Mississippi State. No, excuse me, number 9. I'm on number 9. I went Aaron Theo 10. I'm on number 9. Number 9, I went Kamario Taylor for Mississippi State, the dual threat quarterback. I think that he is very Lenora Sellers-esque in his skill set, just big body, athletic, big arm. You saw him throw for 170-something passing yards against Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl, and he ran for 170-something yards as well. So he's got a little Deuce Knight kind of double, dual threat action. I think he's going to be a really dangerous player. I think he's going to be dangerous enough as a player, as a quarterback, to make Mississippi State dangerous enough to where you don't have to just roll your eyes. We've got State this week. I don't think they're going to be there. I don't think they're going to be in the top half of the league by any means, but I think they will be better and good enough to bite whoever who doesn't take them seriously. So I got Kamario Taylor, number 9.
My number 9 is, this is going to be a fun one. My number 9 is Byron Brown. I think, first of all, I've seen a lot of people have him higher. I think Alabama fans very much know what he's capable of. I think he's shown so many flashes in his time with South Florida. SEC is a whole other ballgame. SEC is a completely different adjustment. I think a talented quarterback in Brown is going to have some problems adjusting. I think this Auburn team is going to have some problems settling in. Nothing that makes Auburn question, okay, did we make the right hire? Should we feel okay in this new era of our school? But more so just first year, adjusting, building a roster, and Brown, unfortunately, won't have the cleanest transition over. I think he'll have a nice, solid SEC season, but nothing more.
There we go. Am I a hater because I did not put Byron Brown on my list, so he didn't make my top 12? Am I a hater for that?
You didn't put him on the list?
Not even at all.
Really?
I think it's going to be a challenging year for Byron Brown in the SEC with a slow delivery, a slow passing delivery. I think it's going to lead to an interception problem for Byron Brown. Is my concern right there. Now, athletically, goodness gracious. I mean, get outside the pocket and run. Good luck catching him. I think that's going to be a problem for people as well. So, double-edged sword. Good with the athleticism, bad with the slow delivery. We'll see what he ends up doing in the SEC. A good pick. I mean, number 9, I'm not calling you crazy, but for calling him at 9, that's not out of bounds at all. I probably would have had him 13 if I actually wrote names after 12. But, yeah, I think that's a good pick. All right, so for me, I'm at number 8, and I went with at number 8, Sam Levitt. I think everybody wants to see Sam Levitt. Everybody's projecting Sam Levitt as 2 or 3 or 1 or 4, in that top 4 range of quarterbacks. But you miss all of 2025 with a foot injury. You don't go through spring practice with LSU. You're battling. There's 2 or 3 other quarterbacks in that room. They're trying to battle for that job. I think he's going to win the job. I love the Lane Kiffin offense. Love it. And it's so quarterback friendly as well. So he's going to put up numbers. But I think that in critical situations, in moments where the games are tight, when things are tough, I'm not a Sam Levitt. I don't think that he's I don't think he's the player that'll take you that'll raise the whole team type player. I think he's gonna have a good year. But when I look at the rest of this list, I'm concerned about injury with his foot. I can't put him any higher. Really, I probably could have put him at 7. You'll know when I get to 7. I probably could have put him at 7, but I don't think I can put him much higher than 7 or 8. So at number 8, I went Sam Levitt, LSU.
Yeah, so I thought I was a little bit low on Levitt. You're going to see him lower on mine than many people have him, but 8 is just ridiculous, Joe. I'm sorry. And we'll talk about this more when we get to where I have Levitt, which is a few spots higher, but 8 is crazy. My number 8, though, is also one that people might call crazy. Because here's a guy that I'm not high on at all. My number 8 is Marcel Reed.
Oh, I love it.
I know you're a Marcel Reed hater, Joe, and you're not very high on him either. Look, What didn't Marcel Reed have last year? There was no reason for Marcel Reed to not be an all-SEC level quarterback. He had every opportunity. He was set up for success in every way, shape, and form. And he could not capitalize on it the way he should have been able to. Because when the Marcel Reed that I saw was 3 points in the college football playoff, was underwhelming all season. Texas Tech had the ability to compete for, even win a national championship last year. And I think a lot of those problems do fall on Marcel Reed. I don't have much confidence in him elevating his play all that much this coming year. So Marcel Reed, 8, I feel pretty good about that.
There we go. You're going to be surprised where I have Marcel, but I love that pick. I love that pick because I think it just speaks to the big gap between 1, 2, and 3 or so, and then the rest of you could poke holes in every single one of these quarterbacks. You could poke holes in all of these guys. It just depends on who you like and what you're willing to overlook. And so that's really the fun nature of this game. At number seven, I went with the combo of Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. I think that the Alabama quarterback system is just almost as good as any quarterback system in college football. You're going to accentuate their skill sets, and you're going to get deep down the field. I am excited about third-year Ryan Williams being a receiver. I'm excited about a lot of the receivers going into their third year or second year under Kalen DeBoer. I think Austin Mack is going to be dangerous enough to be effective and to keep him in the top half of the SEC quarterbacks. I think Keelan Russell could take that even higher, up to 2 or 3 or 4 in that range. So it really 7 for me felt like, well, what's a more neutral perspective than 2, 3, or 4? Because I think that's really their ceiling, both of their ceilings. Right now, we haven't seen anything from them, so 7 it is for me. It feels like a nice and neutral, like, all right, they could climb, but they easily could fall. I don't really see either of them falling past 7. When if we do this at the end of the year and the season's over and we grade the SEC quarterbacks, if they had a mid-year, I think either of them are going to be at 7 because of the numbers and the production that they put up in the Alabama Kalen DeBoer system.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that statement at all in the slightest. My number 7 is going to be Lenora Sellers. And Joe, a couple weeks ago, you said something that is just stuck in my head with Lenora Sellers, and said that he runs around like a special needs child out on the football field. And that's harsher language than I would probably use to describe him. But it's hard to disagree with his decision making and his just head scratch. Like, what are you doing, man, back there? A guy with all the potential in the world that has fallen short of it just so far, and I have very little confidence. It's honestly, I have more confidence in him than Shane Beamer, but ultimately Shane Beamer is the one running the show, and I have very little confidence in South Carolina to piece it all together this year and be a complete football team. And people are going to absolutely look back on this 3 years of Lenora Sellers starting and say, this guy was so talented. This should have been more. This should have led to something. I mean, South Carolina a spot away from making the college football playoff in 2024. And then, last year coming in with all those expectations just to be among the biggest letdowns in college football. I really don't have much hope for South Carolina to be a very competitive, great football team this year. And I think that ultimately Sellers will be underwhelming in both his stats and his production and what he shows out there. And I don't think the mistakes will be super cleaned up. I think with that being said, you got to realize that, once we reach number 7, you're top half SEC quarterback, right? And I think so much of that will boil down to just the raw talent of this guy making very significant, making fun plays, absolutely gets himself in line for an NFL team to throw. Does he have another year of eligibility after this?
He does. I'm pretty sure he's a redshirt junior. Let me double check.
Yeah, so I think, either an NFL team takes a late flyer on him or he gets paid a ton of money to go transfer somewhere because everyone sees the potential. I think it'll be a good but not great season for Sellers.
Yes, 23 is a freshman, 24 is a redshirt freshman, 25 is a redshirt sophomore. He's entering his redshirt junior year.
Yeah.
There we go. I love it. Lenoris at number 7 for you. I've got Lenoris significantly higher, and we'll talk about that in a second. Number 6 for me is John Mateer. I'm taking Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer right here because, okay, it might help you to contextualize the lens that I'm putting this through. If I were putting a quarterback on my team, if I were GM, if I were owner, if I were coach, I think John Mateer is a really good quarterback for who he is. I think he is maximizing his skill set to the nth degree. But I think he's a reckless son of a gun. I think he's a little too small. I think he, just kind of makes some decisions because of his stature, a little bit in the reckless department. I think he's got a good arm, not a great arm. I think he's got a good, not a great arm. I like the Ben Arbuckle offense. I think that his wide receivers were okay last year. Satango was pretty good, but the rest of them were pretty mid. I think John Mateer is a tough son of a gun. Golly, you saw him last year bust his wrist or bust his thumb open, and a couple of weeks later, he's playing in the Red River rivalry. Playing poorly, but playing in the Red River rivalry and really giving it all for his team. So I think he is, the quarterback character type that you all love and gravitate towards. I think he is a decent little playmaker. He's just undersized for me. And I worry about the durability. He's a decent little runner. But as you just said, once you get to the top end, once you get 7 or more, you're in the top out of the quarterback. So for me, I think 6 is a good complimentary number for John Mateer. And people might say, you're underrating him. But when you're talking about the top half of the SEC, I think that's a complimentary number. So I have John Mateer at number 6 because I think the other 5 guys give you something more than John Mateer does.
You see, that is a very, very similar line of thinking that I have pertaining to Sam Leavitt, and that's why I have Sam Leavitt as my number 6. First of all, 8 was too low. 8 was too far. But really, all the stuff you say about Mateer, a guy that I've significantly higher, I think Mateer is a star level player. I think most of that applies to Sam Leavitt, what you just said. I think this is a guy who, first of all, is set up for success so much in this system, right? We'll go out, we'll make some nice plays, we'll be a very, very capable quarterback. I also think you look at the end of his injury-shortened 2025 season, led Arizona State to a win over Texas Tech. And then over his final 5 games of the season, I think it was 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, leading an okay Arizona State team, obviously, a team that could have been better, could have been worse. Got demolished by Utah, got ran off the field, and then he was able to lead a solid response, and all in all, helped Arizona State salvage the season before having his year cut short. He has all the tools to be a very, very capable quarterback for LSU next year. I don't think there's much of a QB battle from what I understand. Like, he is basically viewed as the guy. I think LSU is a playoff team, first of all. I think they are a top 10 football team this season. And I don't necessarily think Sam Leavitt holds them back at all. Does he raise them like some other QBs in the conference? Maybe not, but he's a quality B-plus QB who can, I believe, play a role for this team.
There we go.
Fill his role.
We'll see what Sam Leavitt can do with Lane Kiffin down there on the bayou. And number 5, I hate this pick. It makes me sick. But I'd be not very wise to leave him off my list. At number 5, I have Gunnar Stockton from Georgia. There's nothing about him that I like. There's nothing about him that I like. But he wins. He wins. He leads the offense. He doesn't make terrible mistakes all the time. Mike Bobo protects him so much. Mike Bobo calls plays basically according to his skill set. They have a great offensive line, and he is a tough SOB. I'll say that. So he'll stick his nose in and run. I guess I like that. I like his toughness. I don't really think that Gunnar Stockton can read defenses over the middle, can read zone defenses over the middle. I think that if you give Gunnar Stockton heavy dose of man a lot, Well, he's going to be talented enough to beat you because he's a starting SEC quarterback. I mean, if you're a starting SEC quarterback, you've at least got to get to that level. I think he does well against man, and I think that his teammates respect him, which is a big deal. And so there's a lot of like positives for Gunnar Stockton. But if I were starting a team, he would not. I would not even have him on my list because there's nothing about him as a quarterback. Hey man, you got to read the defense. You got to throw the football. You got to, there's nothing about him as a quarterback. His arm talent, I don't think is special. But dadgummit, he wins, and you'd be a fool to leave him off the list. I think that Georgia's going to run the ball a good bit more this year than they did last year. Or try to, at least. I love Chauncey Bowens. I think he's a great running back. I love Nate Frazier. I think he's a really extremely good running back. But it'd be foolish to leave Gunnar Stockton off this list. Like Georgia might end up being SEC champions and might end up winning it all, win the whole dang thing. And if they do, well, people will see Gunnar Stockton as the leader of that team. And I at least need to have him in my top 5. So number 5 by default. Look, wins are not a quarterback statistic, but somehow, some way, for Gunnar Stockton, they are. And so he gets a bump because he is a good leader. And so number 5 is Gunnar Stockton for me.
I have the exact same pick. I have Stockton at 5 as well. I don't even need to say anything. You said everything that needs to be said about Gunnar Stockton, so we can move to number 4.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Number 4 for me is Montgomery Bell Academy's own Texas A&M's Marcel Reed. Everything that you said about Marcel Reed is true earlier when you had him at 7 or 8, or when you had him low. Yeah, perfect. But Marcel's athleticism, I would be the type I would convince myself I can fix him. Like it's just it needs a little more honing and a little more refinement. I think he's got a good arm. I think he's really, really athletic. I think he sometimes relies on his athleticism too much and doesn't always try to play in the system as well as he's capable of. Now, the 3 points against Miami really speaks for itself. 3 points at home against Miami when your life is on the line is about as bad as it can get. And to lay an egg against Texas at the end of the year when, again, everything was on the line for you, it was pretty bad. But every young player is capable of growth, and that's what I'll talk about when I get to number 1. And so I think Marcel Reed will take a step forward this year and be a better quarterback. And just like we talked about this whole theme, the bottom half of the league, or the last half of the league starters, are not very exciting. I mean, we're sitting there at 5, and I am not excited about Gunnar Stockton. Not at all. You can give me Keelan Russell. You can give me Austin Simmons, and I could talk myself into him. But there's still so many question marks about him that you start to look at the top 4, and it's like, well, who's proven it? Who's done some things in this league? Marcel Reed's done some things in this league, and so I think appropriately, I'm going to put him at number 4.
Well, that's the perfect lead into my question, which is, what questions do you have about Austin Simmons?
Experience.
Does it all boil down to experience?
Yes, because I think Austin Simmons could be better than Marcel Reed. Could be.
You see, I look at Austin Simmons, and I see a guy who has everything. I see a first-round NFL talent. I see the arm. I see the athleticism. I see everything that he can do for a football team. And I think he is set up for success with Drinkwitz. And I think those two are going to be best friends this year. I think everything lines up for a good but not great Missouri team to go out there and overachieve this season, which is why Austin Simmons is my number 4 quarterback in the SEC. And there's my surprise, I guess, of the list. I'm just really, really high on this guy, man. I think that, first of all, you got the perfect Ahmad Hardy, many men comeback story, right? Back there. It's going to be a likable program. I think there'll almost be an element of Ole Miss wondering if, maybe we shouldn't have let this guy walk away. Because, I mean, I guess I'll spoil one thing on the list. Chambliss is number 3 on my list, so we'll talk about him in a second. But there are 2 very good quarterbacks. Chambliss absolutely had a great season, but I think the ceiling with an Austin Simmons-led offense is so high. He does All the same reasons that you can get excited about a Marcel Reed or a Lenora Sellers, they apply to Austin Simmons. Lane loved this guy for a reason, right? Lane was ready to give him the keys to the offense, and no one expected Chambliss to do what he did last year, and obviously it put them in a position where, yes, Chambliss had to be the guy. You were not going to take his job away from him. But I think that they would have been very happy. I think things would have worked out very well still for that team with Austin Simmons leading the show, and you're going to see it this year in Columbia.
Oh, I love the wild card pick right there. And I don't think you were that. I don't think you're inaccurate. I think Austin Simmons has a very high ceiling. So I'm looking forward to seeing him as a full-time starter with Missouri. For number 3, for me, I am going right back to the I can fix him well, and I'm drafting Lenora Sellers. Again, it's a player who's done some things in this league. You've seen it so far. The big body, the athleticism, like the arm is just a missile, an RPG off his shoulder. We just got to hone in the mental a little bit, Lenoris. We got to hone it in, make some better decisions. I think Lenora Sellers can be a really, really good quarterback. I would definitely fall in the trap. If I were a GM, I can fix him. The athletic. It would be Florida quarterback who went to the Colts, Anthony Richardson. It would be very, you've got a lot of the same vibe. Now, he's got more experience. He's going to bring more experience to the NFL than Anthony Richardson did, but I see a very similar type, just athleticism that just oozes. And so for me, I know I would fall in the trap that I can fix him. And so Lenora Sellers is number 3 for me.
Joe, everything good with Kerry? Are you guys okay?
Yeah, great.
I know you've got the sunglasses on, but just blink twice if you ever need help there, because you keep talking yourself into these. Oh, I can fix it. Marcel Reed, Lenora Sellers, it just makes sure you know when you gotta.
Oh, the thing is, none of these other guys on this list, look through the back half of this list. Austin Mack, Keelan Russell, not throwing any SEC passes, really. Sam Levitt, never been in the SEC. Kamario Taylor, going to be a first-year star. If I wanted to make Lenora Sellers my lowest-ranked quarterback, the lowest thing you could talk him into for me is 5, 6.
Purely because of the... I don't know. For me, it's okay, you see the experience, you see what they've done, and you're not impressed at all. And I understand
I'm impressed in flashes with Lenoris. I'm impressed with in big flat, and the flashes are just wow. If I could see that all the time, you'd be the greatest quarterback ever type flashes.
I'm definitely with you in that. I'm more impressed by Lenoris than Marcel Reed. I can talk myself maybe. All right, I guess I can see a world where either of those guys put it together, right? But I can say the same thing about so many of these SEC QBs. Case in point, Austin Simmons as my number 4, right? I can look at an entire conference full of insanely talented football players and say, yeah, I can see any of these guys putting it together and being the best player in college football this year. Mm-hmm. I can see Jared Curtis with all the talent in the world going out and just stunning everyone right away as a true freshman. And, oh, look, everything falls into place right away for this guy, and he's the next big thing. I struggle to, at this point in time, with what I've seen in long, extended periods, especially from Marcel Reed, but also to an extent from Lenora Sellers. I struggle to think that anything's going to change this year for those guys.
It's hard to argue because both those guys are due for a what the bleep bozo type play at any point in time. But if they could get rid of those types of plays, oh my Lord, their ceilings would just be the productions would be off the chart. So I see you're making good points. I just feel like you got to make a list, and experience matters at some point. And so I know that if I were an NFL team, first off, if I didn't have Caleb Williams, I'd cut my arm off for Arch Manning this year. But I don't know if Arch was not on the board and I did not have a quarterback, I might, you'd give Lenoris a look. You give Lenoris a look. Marcel will get broken in the NFL. He will not last in the league. So I think experience really, really matters, and I guess you'll see that in my 2 and 3. Number 3 for you is?
My number 3 is going to be the same as your number 2. I take it, right? Trinidad Chambliss. How about you lead us off with Chambliss then? What do you see in him? Because I think we're going to have very similar takes.
Dual threat action. Really, I think Trinidad and Kyler Murray kind of look a lot alike in college. So with you're going to have a new offensive system. Charlie Weiss Jr. basically going to LSU, so the new offensive system. But I think that he showed just. You saw it in the Sugar Bowl. You saw it in the Sugar Bowl with these moments with Trinidad. That's like. That shouldn't happen. That's impossible. That I've never seen that. He's got that element where I don't think he has a better arm than Arch Manning. I think he's a better athlete than Arch, but Arch runs well. He's just got this an unexplainable quality to his game that is hard to quantify, thus unexplainable. So when you think back to all the experience that we've been talking about, experience with Lenore's, experience with Marcel, well, my man Trinidad spent a whole year in the SEC and basically cakewalked through it. He went to Athens and barely got stopped. I think they punted one time that day. They did lose, but I think it was only one punt. So like you punted once and lost. Like, come on. And goes to the Sugar Bowl, and everything that we saw at the Sugar Bowl, I think it was going to propel him forward. The Sugar Bowl performance is going to give him so much confidence that he enters the year with that same sort of swag and confidence. And I think Ole Miss is going to be fairly dangerous again this year. I think Pete's got something to prove as a first-year head coach. And so Trinidad for me is number 2.
Yeah, I agree with everything. Just came so naturally for him. Right, and that's what it comes. A guy who was he was an unknown at the beginning of the season. I in no way thought that he was going to do anywhere near that. I mean, I did think, obviously being very high on Austin Simmons, thought it was Simmons' team. He impressed in every way, shape, and form. But now I guess the one question I have as we look at this: what are the odds that the wheels fall off this year? That possibility does exist. New system, new scheme, all of that. The classic 6th-year slump going in and affecting him. Like, you just never know. Obviously involved in a lot of court over the all. You never know what's going to cause a guy's, not downfall, but slump, struggles a little bit. Are you concerned about that in any real way?
The only area that I think that he can regret that is, a potential to regress is the interceptions. He only threw 3 interceptions last year. I don't see him throwing 20 interceptions. I don't see him throwing 15 interceptions, but I think getting to 7 or 8 might be in his future. And does that qualify as a fall off? I mean, a little bit. I think that ultimately the athleticism in the Ole Miss skill position room is going to be good enough that everybody's going to be able to work together. They're going to figure out a way to move the football, and he's going to be a huge part of it.
Man, this Ole Miss team is going to be fascinating this year.
Ole
Miss LSU is shaping up to be this game of the decade, honestly. I mean, that as far as everything about that matchup, man, it's not just must-see TV during the game. It's must-see the pregame and the teams walking in, and like everything about that is appointment, sit down, don't change the channel. So I can't wait for that. My number 2, though, is going to be John Mateer. Mateer is an elevator. Mateer was my all-SEC second-team pick last year. And I think, to me, it feels like the expectations on him have been tempered a lot this year. Whereas pre-injury, right, before that hand injury, he's kind of viewed as this gunslinger and just air it out and just really fun, capable QB, right? First of all, we know what these Washington State guys have done out of the portal. I just think he has the ability to be so effective, and I think he can play smart football, right? He had a handful of insanely impressive wins, doing it back-to-back, right, in Bryant-Denny, and then going and taking down Tennessee. And what was basically the loser would have been just about eliminated from the playoffs, right? That was one of the more meaningful games of the season, and he comes in night game in Neyland and takes care of business. I don't really see anything that holds me back from placing Mateer in the A1 category of quarterbacks nationally this season. Expecting the hand to be 100%, expecting him to be able to air that football out, knowing that he's in a, like you said, I like Arbuckle's system a lot. I think he's set up very well. Oklahoma will greatly benefit from him taking the step forward, fully adjusted to the SEC, a team that he's behind. I like everything about Mateer heading into this season. I think it was close with Chambliss. It really was. 2-3 is a close call, but I think there's a very clear top 3 quarterbacks in the SEC this year. And you said the drop-off from 2 to 3. I think it's the drop-off from 3 to 4, where Mateer is firmly in that group of elite SEC quarterbacks.
Well, John Mateer, you got a fan in Theo Fernandez. Number 1, I guess both of us will spoil it, is Arch Manning. I think that Arch Manning is the victim of one of the biggest media malpractices of the world in the last year. Last season's first week against Ole Miss. Oh, Arch Manning stinks. He's the worst quarterback ever. Biggest bust in the world. Whoa. And he just goes out there and continues his season to the tune of 3,100 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions as a full-time starter, 400 rushing yards, another 10 rushing touchdowns. What's that? 26 and 10, 36 touchdowns. Man, in your first year, leading Texas to a 9-3 season is what they were, and winning 10 games, winning that the Michigan bowl game. I think that people like to write the story of somebody as soon as they see him, but the man was a redshirt sophomore playing in his very first season as a full-time starter, and your very first game is on the road at Ohio State against the best defense in college football. You can talk Indiana 1-2, whatever. Ohio State 1-2, whatever. You're playing against a top 2 defense in college football in your very first start. I think that Arch Manning has every tool in his toolbox. And as I said it 3 minutes ago, if the Bears did not have Caleb Williams, I would literally cut my arm off to have him. If you told me, Joe, you can cut your left arm off and the Bears can have 15 years of Arch Manning, if Caleb Williams was not a thing, I might seriously consider that deal. Yeah, I think he is that talented, and you can call me hyperbolic if you want to. That's a-okay. I just think that he's hung the moon, and he has learned all his life how to play quarterback. And this season, I think he is going to light the college football world on fire. If he didn't already last year, and I think he did for some people, I think that everybody who were tweeting those tweets in week 1 last year is going to be embarrassed at the end of the year, and especially in next spring. I mean, next spring, it's going to be up to Arch if he wants to come back for a red shirt senior year, or if he wants to be drafted number 1 overall by whichever team, Jets, Dolphins, whoever has the first overall pick next season. I think that he is absolutely going to light the world on fire this year.
Look, I had Arch as my Heisman pick last year, and, it's just a year early. Right? It was too much expectation to place on a guy, like you said, starting at this level for the first time. Arch Manning is a special football player. The word generational is going to be used to describe him a year from now. Not saying we can talk about that word and how it's lost all meaning because everyone's a generational prospect nowadays, but he will be one of the guys who it's used on. And he really will be. I believe he can be the number 1 draft pick in this year's draft or next year's. He will fully have the decision to, I don't want to go play for the Jets. I'll be back and come back in a year, right?
I'll take my $7 million at Texas and play another season.
Arch Manning is a special football player, man. He is going to be incredible. I could not, if I were picking a national champion right now, it would be Texas in no small part because Arch Manning, I think, is the best quarterback in the nation by a significant margin.
there we go. There's our top 10 or 12 SEC quarterbacks this year. Will Austin Mack or Keelan Russell rise higher than 7, or you had him at 9, didn't you? You had him right there at 9. Will Austin Mack or Keelan Russell rise higher than 7 or 9? You can call us on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340 extension 800. Leave us your comments on these quarterbacks. Who did we misrank? Who do we underrank, overrank? You can leave us your rankings anytime on any comment section that you like. Theo, I think that's about the show for the day. Anything else you got for the people?
No, that's all I have.
There we go. So let's get on out of here. We've ran a little bit long, but we will have a great day. I hope you will as well. Great Tuesday. We will thank Purple Turtle Roofing. Thank Derek Daniel, State Farm Insurance. Thank Theo Fernandez for joining us. Follow him at Theo Fernandez _. And we will talk to you tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.